Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer to the final fit out. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky. Now, I've got to use this roof cover or whatever. I'll basically just jam that back in. And I'll just put some glue down on the roof, maybe some on the tab there, and then I'll be re-secured. So, next thing I'm going to do is just insulate these wires here and the body itself, because you really want to sort of keep this thing not touching metal. You really don't want the metal to contact with wires, and you don't want to go pressing and mucking around with these actuator wires. They're really hard to see. Tiny little fine wires. There's both a negative and both a positive. Negative and positive at the same time, all that sort of crap. It's a quantum actuator. I know. Basically, the actuator works by sending a positive signal down one wire, and it makes it kick the magnet inside from the coil one way, and then it'll reverse that voltage the other way, and it'll kick it back the other way. So effectively, there's no negative and positive. I'll just quickly put some tape on that actuator and just move it out of the way. Now, this sort of tape I tend to use when I do all these mods is this stuff. It's called invisible tape. If you have a look at my finger when I squeeze on it, so all of a sudden it's like it's not quite there. The good thing about this over regular tape, which is this sort of clear stuff, is this stuff snaps, doesn't stretch. This stuff I use for everything. Micro RC builds in planes, as well as insulating and car stuff, because it's basically the best, in my opinion, for what I do. So I really just need a small piece, and I will cut back after I put it down. And all I'm really trying to do is get those wires across where they're going to be safe from that center position there. So you don't want to muck with them too much, and you don't want to press on them and move them around. You want to be really careful with them. So I'll just put them over that side like that. I'll put a little bit of tape that way. Okay, no, I think I cut a wire. Yeah, I got one of the wires maybe. Yeah, I did. So it's no good. You can see through the invisible tape. The wire's still in the middle. But I know where the tape should go. So what I can do is just push them across like so. Put the tape down. Now you can see there's no wires there, trapped them on the other side, but I still need that section cleared. So what I'll do now is just get the knife, come back in, zippy through the tape, and then just split it down this side. Hopefully I should be able to, should be able to just peel that piece out. There we go, and that's where our center post will sit, that section there. So now the actuator wires, as you can see, they're running down through the side there, and there's tape over the top. Might be able to fold that down a little bit if I want. Yeah. And at this point in time, I don't know if I'm going to have to lose the headlights or anything like that yet, so just wait and see. I mean, there's nothing in the body kit as far as holes for them. It'd be quite an effort to make the holes and do that, but hey, if I can leave them in there, I may actually go to the effort of trying to put some headlights in there. I think before I go any further, it might be smart just to get some tape and just try and insulate some of these components a bit, because I don't want the metal body to touch anything, because it'll cause a short, no question about it. So I think I'll just go I'm a little more paranoid than usual about having a short, because it's the first time ever that I've killed a car because of a short. It's a little disappointing when it happens. The battery to be touching stuff. So that's right there, the motor leads. Well, that's not too bad. There's still a bit of an issue with these ones on the side, but I'll just see how that pans out for now. What's the fit like now? Little wheels on it. Well, the back's good. Oh yeah, that's... maybe not. Oh, I see the aerial's got an issue a bit. But if we press it up now, yeah, that's not too bad. We press it up evenly on each side. We're a little bit high in the wheel arches still, which is fine because there's plenty of meat to remove from the back if we need to, off that metal. And when you look now with the forward position as well, we're almost in the position that we want it to be. It's a little bit forward. Yeah, it's still got to come forward a little bit more. So I'm going to have to do some work in this front section. As you can see, there's the post there and everything like that. It's sitting on the post. The front end looks not too bad. I'll press that up evenly and we'll have a look. Yeah, the arches are a bit same. A little bit high on the arches still, which is good. Means you've got room to move and room to work. But yeah, we've definitely got an issue with the wheel arches in the back. When we move it forward, the tyres are going to start to butt up into that arch section. So there's no two ways about it. We are definitely going to have to remove material from here. Let's mark it with this one so you know what I'm talking about. Inside of the arch on this side and same on the other side. We are definitely going to have to remove a little bit of material, which is good because it doesn't flare out much at the very bottom of the arch here into the door trim, but there's enough meat that if we do file it back and get it nice and tidy, it will, or it should, sort of look okay anyway. And I will mark the outside before I do it, but I'm just doing this now so you know what I'm talking about. At the moment, there's a difference of opinion between the front and the back wheels, so I've got to try and fix that. And as you can see, the front wheels are jammed up almost, and the back wheels are unable to turn because they're hard up against the body kit still. If we can move that forward by a couple of millimeters, we'll start to get some turn in on these. And then, yes, there's going to be more filing. I'm going to have to file out this thick section of metal here, the very thick wall section there, and same on the opposite side, on the inside of the wheel arches. I had to do this on the plastic big wheel conversion car. It's this one here. There was a lot of wheel arch work to be done to get that one right. Well, this ain't going to be much different because it's not made for this. So you're making it for it means you're pretty much remanufacturing it a little bit in a way. So yeah, and we're going to have to lose some height off here still, and we're definitely going to have to lose from here. Now I think with the front, because there's so much to come out, we'll just keep hacking away at this bumper bar section because it's plastic and it's quick and easy. So there we go. That'll be the next steps that you'll see. The car has the different motor in it. It's got pretty good acceleration now, and it's not rubbing on the ground anymore. I just got the hobby knife and a file out and removed some of this material off that rear section, so now it's got clearance to the ground. Okay, expanding the wheel arches. I like to find something that's about the same size roughly. Get some sandpaper, and yeah, basically I've done this in video before. Just start working and pressing down on the side you want to remove. Don't press at the back, just press down at the front and just gently, and watch, because you know this thing will sit level as it goes down, and then you've got to start making sure that you're only taking out this front and not taking out the top of the arch. That's why you put, if you can see very well, that's why I put black marker there so you can see how far down I've come with the shininess there and the black section there. Sometimes the white paint doesn't suffice because it's white with a shiny surface, it's hard to tell. But yeah, basically this is how I do it generally. It's slow a little bit at times, not with plastic but with steel or die cast definitely. But you know, it's one of the ways to do it. It's a bit tricky at start because it's trying to jam on the back edge. But once you get down into the arch a little bit, you'll notice it gets a bit easier. There we go. Then you can see through the arch on that side. It's almost touching, so I've got to work on this side more. So I'll lift it off the other side even, and just do this arch all by itself till it comes right down. There we go. Okay, I've removed the wheel arch material, or most of it that I need to. I've also removed a little bit more material at the front here. You can see that, just so that it sits up on a little ledge there that I've created. And it's almost fitting. If I sort of pin it in position and square it up. The back looks about right. The front presses in. The wheel arches are sort of good enough for the back. There'll be a little bit more work done on them, but for now. And the front is starting to show signs of freeing up and moving. Now I've marked the other wheel arches, and I'm going to have to chop out material there, obviously other side, but I'm also going to have to remove, you can see the thickness of this thing is insane. I'm going to have to remove, and the thing is I'm marking these positions out and this stuff out to come off, but I'm actually giving it to a friend to dribble out for me. I can't stand the bloody dribble these days, so I just mark what I want gone, give it to him, and he gives it back to me. That's how you saw skillfully removing materials before, like some sort of a die grinding master. There we go. Yep, that probably should do it. So I just got to thin out these sections here that I've marked. It's just too thick. And also remove the wheel arch back a little bit, halfway back to the door. So I try and make that halfway. I also tell him. There we go. Yes, I still have a cold, but seem to be getting better finally. Yeah, and the rear wheel arches, I'll balance them out. As you can see, the shape of them is a little bit disformed now. So I'll get something a fraction larger than what I was using last time, and just do the whole wheel arch just to round it off again, and then it should be fine. So, off to the dribbly. Sorry there's no noise with the dribbly bits. I honestly couldn't stand the noise of it editing, so I just had to turn it off altogether. But anyway, with the dribbly, I believe he's using carbide dribbly bits, and generally just a straight shank with a dome on the end. If you use the carbide ones and you don't run them too fast, they basically last forever, especially on die-cast material like this. It's soft as butter when it comes to carbide cutting it. So, dribbly away. Okay, I've got the car body back from the die grinding shop. As you can see, we've thinned out this section here and here nicely. This one not as much. I have to send it back for a bit more work. We'll see. But basically, by thinning this out before we sand away these edges, it makes it a lot quicker and easier as well because it's thinner. This material is a bugger. So anyway, go Hot Wheels. By being a bugger of a material also means it's very durable and resilient to children destroying it, which is probably what they're after, and I think that's a good thing. The old Hot Wheels tends to last quite a long time. Okay, I've got to try and find something now that'll fit the front wheels thereabouts, and I ain't got nothing. Give me a minute, let me look. So back to this, basically I've just got to start sanding out this material. What I might do though this time, a little bit different, is I might get a file, and I might just, I know roughly where I want to stop, but sometimes if you get a file, oh, wrong, oh that's the right side, and do what they call a witness mark. So you can like do a little mark in there, roughly to the depth that you want, and a little short. You can see that, it's not showing up real well. Basically what you're doing is you're filing in a gap, which is how deep you want to go with your guard. There we go, nearly halfway. So it's like, you know, when that little slot disappears, enough, stop. And I'll put a second one here for the same reason. There we go, just into the paint there. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. But yeah, they're called witness marks. There's one there and there's one up in there. It's just a way of stopping short and giving you some sort of a gauge to go to. Now I'll do the same on this side. This material's really hard. It's like free cutting mould steel. I imagine it's got a lot of tin in it and maybe something else, but we'll look into that another day. Okay, and it's basically the same as before. Start working on the corner of the guards first and work your way down. Now, as you can probably see, this way, little witness marks only just visible now on each side. The second one's still visible there. There's only one visible on this side. You know, and if you want to get really complicated, you can get a verner out and measure the distances and all that sort of stuff. I think with these cars though, if you do that, you might be disappointed because the distances may not work out within the 0.1 that you need. So yeah, I'll just keep on with this, but as you can see, we've gotten down into it. So we'll just quickly try a fit out and see if we've got any difference out of it. Okay, push it in its forward position. Yep, back wheels are fine, plenty of clearance. Hold it down. Let's set a level. Ooh. Now that's starting to look okay. We're still hitting on this back edge here, which I expected, but only just. This side we're clearing. Try to level it out. Yeah, that's that thicker side I said. And at the front here we're clearing, and this one we're only just hitting. We're only just hitting on this one here. So I'll pull this back up. Yeah, see, we need to thin these back out a lot more. So there'll be more thinning to do through here. So there'll be more thinning out work to be done through here. Because as I've ground away by hand this front section, obviously it's gotten thicker again because I've gone back into where it tapers back. So I'll thin it out and then take a bit more off it. Same on the other side, although the other side doesn't need nearly as much, but yeah. And then there was also these ones here. It's more the corners here than anything that are hitting. So we don't really have to remove much, we just have to thin this corner out a bit, and that'll probably do it. There we go. Yes, I'm probably deep breathing and sounding like some creepy guy that would call someone in the middle of the night. I've been pretty sick, still recovering. I tried to do this like 2 or 3 times, this project, and it was so difficult because I couldn't talk. Anyway, yeah, it's if this gets really hard to do and doesn't feel like it's doing much at all, it's because the metal will clog up the sandpaper and you need to change it once in a while. We're nearly there. The witness marks that we left behind are just showing. The regrind worked out really well. It's thinned out those guards a great deal. I don't know if you can see that well or not, but it's a lot thinner than it used to be. And also there's been a bit taken out of each front corner for clearance. And we're just finishing up now, so I'm about to put the lid back on and have another look and see what we got. That's about right. Now don't get me wrong, it probably still won't fit. This is a long process when you're doing these cars sometimes. If you got one night, it doesn't seem like that long. But if you're doing it and trying to film it, it takes a bit longer, especially when you've got other people helping with the project along the way, i.e. the grinding part. So, let's whack-a-do this back on. Okay, move it as far forward as I can. I think that's about right. Yeah, it's seated. The back's fine still, clearance. Cards look a bit big at the back, but I don't really care. And looking at this, we have full function. It's cleared everywhere now. So that's it. We've got a little bit of clearance on the back, a little bit on the front. Now you have to be aware, sometimes when you do this and then you put the car together, your clearance will go away, and that's because when the car's underweight, it'll change a little bit. But no, looking at that, I think I've got that. That looks fine to me. Okay, part of cleaning up the body is just redressing the guards. Now, I'd normally take off sharp edges and that, but I think it's really going to matter on this one. But just for effect and aesthetics, it doesn't hurt to put a bit of white paint back up on the inside of the guards, just for effect or whatever colour it is. Otherwise, you know, when you look at the car or it drives and that, you'll see these shiny little spots showing where you've ground out the guards. So yeah, a bit of white paint doesn't hurt. Okay, we're really close now, but I just want to make sure there's not going to be there's not any interference fits between this front section and the front section here on the windscreen and the car body itself. So I'm just going to whack that in now. Looks like it should be alright, but it's always best to check. Aha! And here's the first problem. where's the aerial going to go? There's no holes there, so I'm going to have to make a hole for the aerial either somewhere in the car body. Yeah, I think I'll do it in the car body. Where should the aerial come out? I think what I will do is I'll actually cut a little slot. I'll drill and cut a slot in here somewhere, just so I can get that aerial through. I think it'll look a lot nicer if it's coming out through here somewhere as opposed to coming out through the side of the car and off the window. So yeah, I think that right along there will be fine. Somewhere sort of just in that line there. Okay, I got the person that does the die grinding for me to drill 2 holes and stretch the holes together. Basically he said he used one drill and just basically drilled 2 holes and then pushed the drill through at 2 different angles and left me with that. Wonderful. So let's have a look now. Ah, yeah, that's better. Now we can bend it back any way we want after the build's done. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly put that roof on, which I'm now going to have to put a hole in as well to match the hole that I've made there. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to put a hole here as well now. That'll be a lot easier. I can see it from this side. And it's pretty much right there. And the hole on this side can be bigger, so I'll just get the Stanley knife, hobby knife, put a hole or a mark there with the knife, so you can see it from both sides there. There it is there on the other side. Don't put your finger there when you do it. So basically I can now just twist your knife in there if I want and it'll make a hole. The hole doesn't have to match, as long as you don't come past this little edge or whatever into the window, it should be fine. Try not to crack the plastic. But yeah, if you need a hole in plastic sometimes, this knife's blunt, well, the end's broken off, but it's probably still going to suffice. I think that might do it. So I'll just quickly do it back in. Try and insert up, line up. Oops, might fit. Yeah, it fits. There we go. Car forward. There we go. And we can pretty much bend and straighten it to any way we want. I normally have them, you know, as dead straight up and down as you can get them is probably best. So there we go. A bit better. Now all I have to do is basically glue down the front and the back as I plan to, and that'll be the car ready to try. It's hard to hide the excitement. It's actually getting a little bit curious now. Now what I might do now is actually just glue this in. By the look of it, I think I can leave this extra material here if I want. It doesn't seem like it's interfering anywhere. Well, however, if I want to drop the front later down the track, I'm probably going to have to cut this off anyway. Maybe even cut it back to that little ridge. But for now, what I'll do is I'll glue it in the centre here, and I can always deal with that later if I need to. Yep, that should do it. I'll just leave that upside down to set. I won't use any hardener on it because it may stain the plastic, or it may actually get the glue to leave a white oxidization on the plastic. So just glued it in the center. I'll leave that one just to set. So that's it. All I have to do now is that final fit out part. Okay, it turned out with the final fit out, just as I was checking before I went to film, this section here that I left behind is an interference fit, so it's come out, and I'm also now just using a hobby knife to remove that little rim that pokes up from the windscreen just back to the body. This one's sort of a little tricky, but if the knife's sharp and you're not watch your fingers, you're not silly about it, shouldn't be too bad. And there's also these other sections here I noticed of plastic. These may be the issue, so I'll probably trim them back as well. But for now, let's work on this windscreen section here. As you can see, if you just shave lightly, don't try and take too much, the knife won't jam up on you. You can pretty much sculpt and mould these plastics with a hobby knife because it is so soft and the knife is so damn sharp. Okay, we're nearly ready for the final fit out. Now I've noticed when I put the body kit on, it almost matches up perfectly, except there's a bit of a gap in this front section, so I'm going to use that gap. So what I'm going to do is get some foam safe CA glue, and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue in this front section, foam safe glue. Okay, and then I'm going to get this piece of then I'm going to get this piece of Depron foam. I think it's like 2mm thick, I think. Might be 1mm. I'm just going to put that over the top. Just get it in place. Might even crunch it down a little bit. Can't stick into everything. Basically, I'm going to try and use this as a support for when the body kit goes down. I've got glue on both sides now, I'm making it a pain in the making it a problem. Use some kicker on this just to speed up the process a bit. Straight through the underside there. Okay. Now that's hardened enough, I'm hoping. I should be able to get my knife really gently and just slice off that excess front off the plastic. Oh, sorry, slice off that excess front off the plastic. Just like so. Okay, we're down to the last stage. All I have to do now is glue the car body onto the car and hopefully position it so that nothing touches, and we should be able to drive it from there. Now, because I'm gluing foam and steel, I'm going to have to use a combination of glues. I'm going to use a foam safe for the front where the foam is, and I'll use this gap filler CA for the rest of it. Now, I've also got these little 1mm Depron foam spacers, which I'll just trim back a little bit. I'm just going to jam these down the sides of the car when I put it together, and it'll help keep the car evenly spaced in the body. As you can see, a lot of material was removed from the inside of the car. I think this is pretty much it, so I can start applying glue and putting the car together. So you don't accidentally get any glue where you don't want it. Put these spacers in. Now they're just to keep the body evenly spaced. Now that should be the front. Make sure that we've got clearance in the wheels. Yep, clearance in the back wheels. A little bit tight, but I'll just move it, pitch it back. Yeah, looks like we've got clearance. Okay, so now if I want now, I can apply a little bit more gap filler, so a little more CA at the front section, and I can use the kicker, start using the kicker on it. As long as my spacing is good, we can start setting it off. And a bit more back here. There we go. Same again, we'll react that, set it off, and that's it, done. That probably will be enough for now. I just have to wait and hold it, let it set. Quickly double check. If I've made a mistake now, I'm going to have to probably just get in there with a hobby knife. Yep, I think I've just got a touch there now. It's alright, I can probably get in there and fix that, or I can just pinch it forward a bit more now. I'll do, I think. Yeah, that's it. Pinched it forward. Hopefully the glues will start to set now. Well, that's it. I think we're done now. So all I have to really do is charge her up and see how it works. That's the car, hopefully finished. We won't know until we test it though. Looks like the glue's holding and everything's fine, so wait and see. Okay, I think the aerial's touching here and there on that body, and it's causing problems. Try again. Yeah, that's crappy reception. Have to fix that. Okay, one little mod that you probably should do, which after a failed quick test I found out about, is I've had to insulate the aerial from the metal body kit. Unfortunately, when the aerial was touching the metal body kit, it was giving throwback signals and things, and the car wouldn't function properly. So I basically got a very small piece of heat shrink, shrunk it a little bit and slipped it down in the hole, and just glued it in place. That's the last thing you have to do to it, it would seem. And that's it. The car's, after that, it's perfect, the reception's fine. So, now that I've done that, we'll test it again now, and I'll do some driving and see what it's like. So, after insulating the aerial, the reception is as good as it should be, and the car was fine. This is basically the first drive after the car was reassembled. Now, it's always best when you build a car, do a little shakedown, give it a full battery charge, and drive it left, right, straight, trim it if you need to, and also reverse, and just make sure everything works and get everything to sort of loosen up and wear in. You'll generally find with these cars that they are a little bit faster and they handle a little bit better after they've been run a couple of times. Things just free up and the tyres tend to wear off microfine grooves and stuff from manufacturing, and you get a bit more traction. With this car I found if you drove it on a floor and it got a little dusty, it would actually behave a little bit like a drift car, or you could slide the back end around a little bit. And yeah, the result for this one was brilliant. Sorry it took a while, I've been very sick and I literally could not talk through the narration to do the video. I hope to do a few more of these Hot Wheels cars, so yeah, if you're interested or you have a particular one in mind, let me know and I might do it next. This is Adam, signing out. Ta-da!